Boom.
What's going on, Gary?
Hey, Rod, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing?
Woo, I'm good.
Yeah.
Man.
You have a good week?
Yeah, pretty good week.
Yeah.
Got some a little accomplishment on the car late this afternoon. A little goal I was wanting to get after with the support bars on the front, and then from there the turbo mount comes into play. So I was glad to get that knocked out and all that welded up, and that was kind of a mess. There's not a lot of room to work with, and there's a specific place I want that turbo to be. So
yeah,
it was front end on and off and drop the turbo down and back up. So it worked out, and I got something done.
Good job. We had some great weather during the week, and then it got rainy on us all weekend.
Yeah, a little drizzly all day, I think.
Mm-hmm. Man, we got some good feedback from last week with the podcast, and we had a couple of freaking killers from Missouri chiming in. So, luckily we reached out to them, and they're going to come on the show here in a little bit. I'm excited about that.
Yep, a couple big bears.
Oh my goodness, killers, sharks. How do you want to say that?
Bears, sharks, killers,
superstars,
small tire superstars.
You know, these guys run 20s and they're upset, that they slowed down.
they think that's slow.
I know it.
That was a bad run.
Oh yeah. Must hit the tires or something. If I ran a 20, I'd be like, oh my goodness. That's so awesome.
We got some comments here.
Al,
I
see Devin Brown watching.
Devin, cool.
Yeah.
Keith Lopez, Rex Johnson, Chris Stewart, Dale Kwasniewska, Zach West, Tracy Lynn. Hi, Tracy. Keith says, hey, fellas. Chad Brown, James Young, Amy Music, Rodney Dowell's watching.
Whoop. I see Cameron Marshall, Shannon Wise. I see Al from the Titans.
Al says, hey, guys. Hey, Al. Yep, cool.
And Larry. Ding, ding, round one coming up. Sorry.
That's right. The gloves are.
Oh my goodness! Did you see all the stuff going on today with "Grease is the word" and little red car? Oh my goodness, man! It was just rolling. That was great stuff, man. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, that was
whenever you want to get the party started or get the round going.
All right, let's grab these guys and turn them loose.
Turn them loose.
There's Mr. Russell and Mr. Craven.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Looks like Russell treated me coming to a live chat.
Yeah,
he did.
He treated you.
It was horsing around with him before you got on, and he disappeared. And it's like he treed you here. He had to put pistons in it and beat you back again.
Russell's got a lot of experience putting pistons in
it. It happens with a nitrous car every once in a while. And it's usually the tuner. It's usually because of the tuner.
Russell says, I've got a couple of soldiers down.
Yeah. Got that soldier on the field. Got to go put another one in.
Dead soldiers. Oh, awesome deal.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to have some fun here. We'll just chit-chat it up and see where it goes. Take a little bit to your left on your first rides. Probably talk about the track and everything at Ozark and 2024 and just whatever Gary's got, I got, whatever the comments got, we'll just roll with it. It's going to be a good time.
Yep.
Russell and I have a good time racing. One of the guys I love competing with, there's probably 6 or maybe 8 guys in that Titan series that have just got wickedly fast for the surfaces that we're running on. Al Schoenwetter, when he started Titans with Larry, said, he wanted to create a series that wasn't full of mercenaries. If you went to South Georgia or Orlando or VMP, and he's like, you guys have become the mercenaries.
Oh, that's great stuff. So, let me just start with you, Craven. When did you start drag racing? When did you get into drag racing, that sort of thing?
I made my first pass ever at Mocan in the summer of '86.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And it was everything was quarter mile and bracket back then. People think I'm anti-bracket racer, but that's all there was when I started. And Ozark was closed then. Ozark had a ditch dug across it. But I went to Mocan, and I didn't know how fast my car was because there wasn't any draggy back then. I'd never had a time slip, but I thought it would run 13 seconds. To make a long story short, the fastest pass I made of the day was a 1493, and I broke out on a 1540 dial. And I stopped in Joplin on the way home because I was in high school. I stopped in Joplin on the way home, bought some white shoe polish, and changed the 1540 on my windshield to a 1340 before I got back home. So everybody that I street raced against and stuff, and that was back when Scott Palmer and Clay Phillips, we're all street racing in Springfield, Missouri. And I drove to school the next day with my 13-second car instead of my 15-second car. And back in 13 seconds in the quarter, especially if you could run it on the streets, would get it done.
Oh, yeah.
4 doors are running it, but
that's
You're striking fear in them.
Oh, yeah.
Russell came out of the streets. Russell had a pretty feared pickup on the streets.
What kind of car was that, Craven?
And then it was a 69 Chevelle 4-speed.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Go ahead, Russell.
Yeah, I used to run obviously it built a lot of cars and helped a lot of people before I was able to get my stuff going and stuff. Me and Steve Huntley grew up together and run pretty hard. A couple Camaros he had, and done a lot of work with them and helped him a lot, and was building my 50 pickup, which everybody thought was a crazy thing to bring out. And, it kind of was, I guess, at the time. It was a blue 50 Chevy pickup. We had a 406 at the time when it come out, and it ended up being a 421 that's in Kirk Main's Mustang that he run 85, run the championship 2 years ago with the same motor. So kind of funny deal. But we done a lot of street racing, done a lot of dumb things, and had a lot of fun doing it, and would probably still be street racing, to be honest with you. But we decided to kind of got run off the streets and decided to go to the track, and I started out the street running Pro Street with a little purple Vega, and had a 540 in it with 2 stages of nitrous, and we'd cruise Kearney and go to McDonald's for a little show, and then we'd come down and run Pro Street the shootouts with it. So we were slow as hell. So compared to Brent Deputy and all them other guys and stuff. So, but we're too damn hard headed to quit. So we just kept plugging at it, and got some of that dumb luck and won a few races, and just kind of hooked from there. And after that, we just we haven't looked back, and it's been fun. Been a long trip, and we've been every year we upgrade, do something different, and now I feel like I finally got what I wanted, and so now we just got to master this thing. So it's a beast. On small tires, it's hard to tame. I can guarantee you. We've been struggling for probably 2 years, real good, to trying to get it right. So,
have you always been a nitrous guy?
Always. Yep. Always. I mean, I've helped. We've played. I've helped like Steve with the blowers, and there is a Nova over here. Or a Nova wagon that we're putting a anti-roll in. That's what I said. I had the Amish working earlier, so he's putting an anti-roll on a wagon here. That's a turbo car. So, James says long roof mafia. So his wagon, and so he's got his wagon too that we built. I guess it was last winter. We built from scratch a 79, 78 wagon, Malibu wagon. So run 8.5 with, and it's got a 540 small block in it, and we're just kind of getting the bugs out of it, and you know how it is, a new car and lots of bugs, and trying to get everything lined out on it. But I feel like we're getting closer. We kind of run out of time this year to continue any more tests and stuff. Same with mine. We struggled after Centerville. We struggled all year after Centerville. So until Rodney there gave me the win at Tulsa. So that was our big comeback there.
Dang. Look at his face a little bit.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
well, you know, I had to bring it up because we never changed the tune one time that night. We were just happy to go down the track. We were struggling, and when we got in the finals with you, you took off before I think the tree come down or damn near, and I sat there and I spun. I literally spun right off the hit. I was like, well, that was weird.
Yeah.
So, but
I had Russell first round of that Titans race, and I bought some fuel down there. Blake left. The story starts. Blake leaves his house with a laptop on top of the truck, and smashes in 1,000 people. So we show up at 1,000 pieces. We show up at Tulsa with no laptop, no tunes, nothing. And then I bought some fuel there. I draw Russell in the first round. My thing dies as soon as I let off the button. We finally figured out it was just bad fuel. But Russell was lucky enough to crap in the swinging bucket. I think you had to win one race?
I sat there and waited on this guy and waited on him and waited on him. And I could hear him over there coughing, and finally gets up and starts popping and banging again. So I move in. Next thing I know, the light's coming down. He never moved. So, yeah, I don't. I think I got to buy the next round, and then I think somebody red lit on me before the finals. Let's see, Heckman. Yes, Justin Heckman red lit after our big adventures there. We had to race in the semifinals, and the semifinals, and then he red lit, and then obviously got a red light going into the finals. So yeah, we didn't race much.
No.
A car
that's that dumb luck that I was talking about.
Buy and 2 red lights. That's Russell Foreman.
It is. Well,
he's living a blessed life.
We get back and I look at Gary and he goes, "Hey, I don't want to rub salt in the wounds, but he hit the tires." I was like,
I did too, and I did not change the tune at all. I was like, we're just going to run the thing. We just run again. Let's see if we can do it again, and could not, and it's ridiculous. So
I ran the fastest pass of that event in the second chance race. We went to 22, and Jake Mason and I were the only 2 that signed up for it. But
hey, Craven, did you come up with the laptop at all for that race, or did you just wing it with no laptop?
No, Blake had another laptop, but it didn't have any of it had 2-year-old tunes in it that were literally from when we were on E85.
Oh, man. Wow.
Drag racing.
It is. So I got a quick question, both of you, and you kind of answer it separately, but tell me about your first 4-second pass.
You remember yours, Russell?
My first 4-second pass, yes, it was Street Machines. I believe it was Street Machines at Rogersville. It was a shootout. I bought a motor off of Jason Brown. I bought a 615. I went from a 572 to 615, and Jason's like, "Hey, I got this motor. I'm going Pro Charger." He said, "Actually, no, I'm going small block nitrous." And he's like, "I got this big block I want to sell." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "What do you want for it? I don't know if I can afford it, And he gave me a hell of a deal on it, and I put it in, and I did not get the thing until Wednesday or Tuesday of the race, before the race. We crammed this thing in and didn't know nothing. Obviously, Jason knew everything about it, tuned and everything, and we went out there and let off a trigger. I believe I was racing Don Irwin's Mustang, and I believe Steven Beeler was driving it, and it went immediately on the back tire. I pedaled it 5 times. I think it landed about 100 and some foot out. Bounced off suspension a couple times and went 496, 499 or something. And we had been in the 530s, 520s before that pass. So it was like, holy crap. So, and we got to do it at Rogersville. So,
Cool. What about you, Craven?
Same for me. It was in my S197 Mustang, and it seemed like we were never going to get in the 4s. We had 501. Zach West is doing the same thing right now. He'll run a 501, 504, 507.
He's so close.
Had a notebook full of those time slips, and we go to Street Machines, and then it was a class they called late model EFI, and they don't have it anymore. It was everybody that was too slow to run X. And at the
Right.
time. And we put a reducer in it. It has a 94 millimeter turbo, and we had to put a 88 millimeter reducer in it. And my first 4-second pass, we went to 94. So, I went from how you would have thought at the time that I won the damn event. I was so ecstatic. I'll never forget that. I knew I have a bad habit of looking at the scoreboard when I go by it to see how, if you see, I tell you about how fast you can go at Ozark and still see the scoreboard's about 410 at 190. I think any faster than that, you won't see it. I did that at Street Machines. I've got a better story. I went in my black car. The first time I went a 3 was at South Georgia, and I'll never forget this. I wasn't looking at the scoreboard, and I went a 399. But when I race, I put my phone underneath my leg in case. I've got a radio in the car, but Blake never likes to wear the damn headphones or anything, so I have the phone in case I need to call him if I break something. And I'm still on the track at South Georgia, like literally the chutes are still out, and my phone's going off, and it was Anastasia Hashnisky saying congratulations on the 399. So I hadn't got the time step, I hadn't seen the scoreboard, I hadn't seen anything, but they were watching it on Flow. So it's cool that you ask those questions, because that's definitely, I remember my first 5 too, because I'd only been like 643 before that, and then when a 580 or 578 or something, I was like, holy crap, this thing is fast. But it's the only sport in the world that you pay more to do what you love less.
Yeah,
That's good point.
shorter.
I like that. So where did the nicknames come up? Where did the car name come up? Start with you, Russell.
Well, obviously, we went and bought this car off of Justin Swanstorm, and me and David got it from D&J Components and stuff. He does all my transmission work and stuff. I told him, I said, hey, I said, I just bought this car in Florida. I said, you want to go with me to go get this car? And of course, he's ready for an adventure anytime. And so we used my trailer and his new truck that he just bought. So we went to Florida down there, and we're obviously get this thing bought and meet Big Country and all them guys and stuff, and good Class Act guys, and we're driving back, and of course, we looked at the car. Everything in this thing's white. I mean, the cage is white. Everything on the thing is white. Even the driver. So, and I thought, of course, we had all kinds of wrong names, not appropriate names, I guess, that come up as we were driving back, our long drive back from Tampa, Florida. And something just popped in my head, I think, about halfway back. And I said, Betty White. I said, we're going to call her Betty White. And I said, that's what I'm going to call it. So I think I messaged the wife, and I said, we're going to call this car Betty White. She thought, well, that's a good name. And I said, well, all the other names probably wasn't appropriate. So, so that's kind of how it was. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably a fitting name because, Betty White was feisty as hell, and so's this car. It has fought us. So, like I said, we've been on the struggle bus, but we've had a lot of dumb luck too. So it's like Craven said, like Tulsa. So it's a race car, it's fought us. We've had a lot of good times, a lot of bad times. So, we've, equally both ways. So. Yeah. What do you think, Craven?
I think that I should have bought that car from Swanstrom 3 months before Russell did. I'll tell this story. Swanstrom had that car for sale, and I was looking for a big tire car, and it was like that car. Russell ran it, or Justin Swanstrom ran it in No Prep Kings. You can go back, 4 years ago in No Prep Kings and see it. That car, hell, I think it won an event. There was a race where he was outrunning Kai Kelly in the Shocker event.
Beat Kai Kelly.
And I negotiated with Justin in the car, and I made him an offer, and he turned it down. It was, as a roller, same way that Russell bought it. And 3 months later, he sold it to Russell for exactly what I offered him for it. And I remember I made a Facebook post because he had told me, Russell didn't tell me. He said, hey, I sold that car to a guy in Missouri. And I'm like, who? He's like, Russell Foreman. I'm like, do I know? Yeah, I know him. So if I would have offered a few more grand 3 months later, I wouldn't have been haunted with that car. Russell, how many cubic inch was the Pope? 784. Russell.
Yeah, 784.
When he brought that car back, he had an engine that he had and Russell always has good car names. He had Big Booty Judy before that, and he had a 784 cubic inch nitrous engine in that. And he put that thing in Betty White, and they were pretty freaking consistent. He was on big tires for a minute, and then big tire racing was kind of going away, and he put it on smalls, and that son of a bitch would print 40s time slips. And at the time, 40s was fast. Right. I mean, fast. Hell, I remember just running a 450 and thinking, that I'd never go any faster than that. And then 2 years ago, or I guess it'll be in this last October, it was a year, wasn't it, that you had the buck motor in it? Was last year the first full year of it? James came to me,
year and a half.
Yeah. James came to me.
I put it in for your hooktacular. Yep, it was in there. It was kind of one of them deals. Got it the first of the week, crammed it in there, got everything done, and we would just started it up before your hooktacular deal. We decided I'm going to take it out there. So
yeah, so James had told me I get excited when people are buying badass stuff, and James had shown me what they were doing. He's like, if I can talk Dad into this, we're going to get this 959 buck motor, 6 kit Schweitzer Dynamics. I mean, just
Jay Cox.
Tuned by Jay Cox. I mean, just, big boy stuff. And James is like, well, we'll run 20s next year. I said, you're going to fight that thing all year. I said, it's not all about horsepower, I promise you, because at the time, I know I probably had as much horsepower more than anybody in the class. And I don't think I do anymore, but we've done pretty good. But I had the opportunity to have that car, and it wouldn't have kicked my butt the times that it has if I wouldn't been a tight ass. But
we about had a big mess at Mad. We were match racing with 784 stuff, so
I think
we had a little grudge race there, and
my car pulled 3 G's sideways, bent the wishbone, broke the drive shaft, inches from the far wall, inches from the pit, the concession stand side wall. Car came completely off the ground. It was a freaking cluster. Russell spun. Just God was.
And I got back in, and I never get back in one. And something told me to get back in, and I'm at the throttle, and we just barely missed each other. He comes swiping in behind me as I got back in the throttle. So yeah, it was a hairy mess anyway. So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to map the throttle to spin the car around. There were no brakes were going to stop it. So, I mean, you see it go sideways on me. I mean, violently sideways. And I'm going to hit Russell. And so I just lay it on the wood. I'm either going to drive through him or it's going to spin around, which it did spin around.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw Blake. I'm gonna throw Blake underneath the bus. I think didn't he leave the lid off the beer cooler? I mean the intercooler.
So what?
Got water on the tire.
That's what happened. I can't say that it's Blake's fault. That's bad. If you remember, we raced for 2 or 3 years without a hood, and Blake and I were out there by ourselves. And we were getting ready, and there was a couple of little kids that came up and wanted to look at the car and take pictures of it and all kinds of stuff like that, take pictures in it. And we always try to be good about that, because we're going to bend over backwards, all of us, to make sure the next generation, has a memory of a good time at the drag strip. Yeah. But they came up in the middle of us getting the car ready. And yeah, the lid got left off the intercooler or left loose. It was just set on the top of it. And I did it. And I mean, it was fine through the burnout, but it was horrible once we let off the brake. And I remember the tree dropped with the bottom bulb flickering, which was a blessing because I was dead late. I mean, like a 0.4 reaction time or something. Usually when I race Russell, I go red. But if I would have had if you look at the video, the tree goes green without my bottom bulb still flickering from where I'm bumping in. And anyway, we missed him, but it was as close as you want to get. Chris Hogan has a good video there of it.
Your intercooler was up in front of the engine, right up in the nose.
Yeah. And we got rid of that. Blake loves E85 and ice, and I don't like to buy 400 pounds of ice every time before we go to the track. So I finally had to knock the whole front off of the car to get rid of the intercooler, but we got rid of it. I'll back up a little bit. Russell brought up when he was at Centerville last year, that's the first Titans race of the year. He went a 17 out there and lost the converter bolts at probably 500 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah, right through as soon as we went through the finish line there, which I had the parachutes out early, and because it darted on me, it darted like everybody else's car darted. It bounced off the walls and stuff. So, but we still went 417, and I was not shutting the car down right. I was used to all my other nitrous motors, and this is not a normal thing. And I finally called Jay Cox and I said, "Man, what am I doing wrong?" I said, I can't keep converter bolts, and I've sheared 7/16 grade 8 fine thread bolts off like they're grade 5. And I said, "What am I doing wrong?" And he goes, "Wait a minute." He goes, "How are you shutting the car off?" And I go, "Wide open, throttle off like I have every other nitrous motor, so I can check plugs." He goes, "Man, you can't do that. Because this thing's fuel injected, and this motor's like a diesel. It runs backwards when you shut things off like that." And I go, "Oh." So we had a little fire and brimstone going through the finish line down there, and I found converter bolts sitting on top of the intake, sheared off.
He was.
And we so damned excited about running 417. Not one of us thought about checking the converter and see if it was even still attached to the flywheel. So we go back up there for the final race and start it up, and it won't move. And we're like, "Why this thing won't move?" And I thought I tore the tranny up, because the last time I was down there, I tore the tranny up during their last shootout deal they had, their big event. So I thought, yep, happened again. And nope, it's me not doing stuff right. Like I said, always the tuner that tears them up. So that was me.
Wow.
That's the Titans ET record. Russell ran a 17 that night. And I mean, Blake's 417 Motorsports, and we'd ran a 24 the night before, and we wanted to go down there and run a 17. And then I ran it off the end of the track and tore it up, and Russell ran a 17. But my point was, it's still a Titans record. Had he not had problems when the car kicked out on him, that might have been an O's pass. It's the fastest pass has been made at Titans in competition. And
Wow.
But
we went 103, 60 foot. I tell you how good their 60 foot is. Went 103.
Wow.
That track came around when the sun was sun was out. We couldn't do nothing, and then when it got cool, you couldn't spin a tire.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
When I was down there for the big final race, which back to Craven said earlier about us, we always support the Titans race, and I wanted to get the Titans race down there and stuff. So me and 3 other guys went down there on their shootout race on 275s. Well, they run 315s. They're 29.5, 315 guys. We showed up on 275s, which pretty gangster. I felt like I qualified second. I think Jason was 4th, and I think Tony Phillips was 5th. And the whole amongst them and stuff. So we put on a pretty good show for not ever being there and running down the track. So I was like, we got to go back. This track has got some teeth to it. And I noticed Justin Martin, he didn't make any passes until the sun went down. And I paid attention to that. And I said, just like Craven just said, when the sun's out, it's not quite that good. When the sun goes down, it's an animal. And, that's when everybody was really putting it to it. So
Right on, right on. Hey, Craven, how'd you and Blake and 417 Motorsports get together?
It's kind of a story behind that too. That Shane McClellan, rest in peace, always, used to say that the reason that Blake and I got together at 417 was because of him. And he was right. I was watching Shane McClellan and Blake in the Krusty Nova doing the crazy stuff at Drag Week and, doing the freaking 660-foot trailer burnouts and riding the 400-foot wheelies. And I mean, when they were running Drag Week, they took over YouTube and the internet. Hell, that's been, I don't know how long ago that's been. Hell, 10 years probably. And so I started watching. I'd see Shane and Blake at Ozark, and I just started looking at that car, and I go back to what Russell said earlier in his truck. He had a 406 in it. I was never the LS guy. Like, I give LS guys hell now, like Russell gives turbo guys hell. But I, if I was going to build a small block, it'd probably be a conventional cylinder head small block Chevy. But I got rid of small blocks in the 80s, and I've had big block Chevys ever since. But I saw Krusty Nova and Shane and Blake with this LS, and I'd go over there to their pit and look at all the work, and I'm like, this guy does good work. This thing's. And Krusty, a lot of people don't know how nice that car was if they haven't seen it in person. I mean, it's a carbon fiber hood with a patina paint job. That you see that car. I always told Shane that I'd seen that car with his panties down. The car was gorgeous. It just had a paint job on it that looked like it was that. And so I'd followed 417, and Shane Smith out in the Osho was building that RX-7, and Blake's kind of an import guy. He had a 240 that he sold Casey Rance, and Casey Rance kind of got famous in that thing. And I watched Blake win Armageddon in Javier's car, and I watched him building this RX-7. And before the car was a roller with no glass in it, and I'd message him and say, "Hey, you guys want to sell that car?" And told him, if you ever do, let me know. And I don't know why, because if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would have wanted an import, I wouldn't have. I would have asked you, what you were drinking. But to make a long story short, I buy the car off of Shane, and it had an LS in it, but I bought it as a roller. And Blake and Cody T at 417 are like, what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna put in it? I said, I'm gonna put a freaking twin turbo big block Chevy in it. What do you think I'm gonna do? On all of Blake's t-shirts says, "Trust me, it'll fit," right? For 417 Motorsports, that's their slogan. That's why I told them, I said, "Hey, trust me, it'll fit." And Mike Bradley helped us out with, we got the engine, and he had Steve Morris 572 that he had in his Pro Mod. And Mike started going to the lake and being a regular husband instead of a drag race husband, so he gave us a good deal on the engine, and we got a couple of turbos from Jason Carter, and just Don LaManna from Florida came through with the transmission. We kind of put the thing together, and that's Blake and I became friends. Heck, that's when how Danny was pregnant. There's 2 kids now through that, and Hudson's getting ready to get in a junior dragster. But we became friends and started, because Blake used to always race, and I put him in a race car every time that I could shove him in one. I tried to get him in the RX-7 this year. But he enjoys, we have a good time. Like when we're at the track, I don't have to explain to you guys or the people watching. That's when you leave for the racetrack. That's when the rest of the cares of the world just drain out. So when you turn the phone off and you're answering everybody Sunday night or Monday morning. We never thought, and I'll this bears saying, we were going to street race that car. That car was built with, it was short. It's not a radial car. And we were testing at Ozark one night, and Tito was out there and Slavens was out there. And Tim said, hey, we're going to have Kurt Johnson from Total Venue Concepts prep this track, whenever next week, 2 weeks or so, and we're going to do a test session. Do you guys want to come? We're like, hell yeah. I've got Tim Slavens. He drives the Wolverine. I felt like, and remind me to tell you how I felt the first time when Russell accepted my friend request. But I've got Tim Slavens inviting me to a test session. So we went, I don't know, a 4. This one, the RX-7. I mean, we just put the engine in. We went a 70. Did I come? I saw my thing spinning. We went a 70. Slavens and Tito were helping us, and they invited us to come to Tulsa the next week because they had Tulsa rented for 3 days. And Jake Kashniski and Anna and Blake and I went down there for 3 days with Tim and Tito and that whole crew. I mean, we beat on those cars like rented mules for 3 days. I've never beat on a car like we did. They had the track rented for 3 days, and we ended up going a 50 or 51, something like that. Jake and Anna went a 47. I can't remember. And how we started radio racing since then. I mean, and our whole plan for the car was no prep and street racing, because that's what Blake did. And we ended up on a radio. I'll tell this story quick, and Tito can chime in if he ever sees it. Tim was down. They had the quarter-mile clocks on at Tulsa. And Tim was trying to coast through on like a 5.99 pass. He wanted to run a 5 in the quarter, and Mark was losing his mind that Tim was staying in it till it hit the chip, right? Because he'd stay in it, probably hit the chip at 800 feet, and then he'd kick it in neutral. He's trying to coast through like a 5.99 at 140. And so I saw what he was doing. I was like, damn, I wonder if I could run a 6 at 200. Right? So I was doing the same thing, and Blake and Tito were ready to strangle us by the end of it. But that's something Jake, Anna, and Blake and I talk about that stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, great memory.
I just felt blessed to do it. But that's how we got radio racing. I know it kind of sidetracked us, but
that's all right.
Tell us about that friend request from Russell then.
So if you guys remember, Russell had a black, what year was your Malibu? An 80, 78?
It was 79.
79. He had
it was 79 Malibu.
Flat black 79 Malibu nitrous. Car just looked sinister. He ended up selling to Brian Smith. And Russell grabbed social media and cool logos and stuff before the rest of us. And I don't know if it was because, he had a teenager that was just on that stuff, but he had this Nitrous Mafia tint and Nitrous Mafia across the windshield of the car, and Nitrous Mafia t-shirts with like this old gangster. I've still got one. I should have wore it for this. And I'd had a Nitrous Mafia t-shirt, and I'd sent Russell a friend request on Facebook, and he just kind of left it how you do, like you're sitting there now with 990 friend requests and you don't know any of them. So Russell never accepted it, right? How damn, and Russell was fast. That's my car back then. It's a car I had, ran 640s. And one day I get the notification, Russell Foreman accepts your friend request, right? I'm like, holy hell! I felt like I'd arrived in the big leagues when Nitrous Mafia pilot Russell Foreman accepted my friend request. I had no idea that we'd end up, battling it out and having a rivalry and a friendship, and just Russell and I. He's one of the guys that, like many business owners, can relate to. He's awake at midnight and he's awake at 5. So you might get a text at either time with him. But that was Russell accepting my friend request.
That's a great story. So last week, Gary and I were talking, and he asked the question, from West Buck about rivalries and that sort of thing. So we want to throw that to you guys. Do you have rivalries, and what do you think about rivalries for the sport and that sort of thing? So Russell, go ahead.
I think rivalries is what drives us. I mean, I've said it for years, and it's kind of just, off the top, but, I got to have somebody to hate to keep me driving, keep me going forward. And I know hate's a big word, but, you get guys that you want to beat, and like, Craven knows this too, man. When I was coming up, I had my then that was the Malibu was the birth of Nitrous Mafia. We raced with Jason Brown, Tony Phillips, John Hurd. I mean, all these guys, and I was slow. I mean, I had my 572 in it, and we were just poking the nitrous to it, and we were not going any faster. And that first time, I bought that 615, and the first time I beat Tony Phillips, and Tony Phillips had whooped my butt time after time after time, and I was like, man, this sucks. I'm trying this, trying that. The first time I beat Tony, I thought I had won the lottery. I was, they weren't so happy, but I was ecstatic. And me and John Hurd, I had a year where I beat John Hurd every time we was there, and then next year he beat me every time. So, just that kind of stuff though drives you, and the rivalry deal is good. It's good for the sport. People need to understand too that we're out here having fun. Just because we talk crap on Facebook and all that. So, we don't necessarily hate each other. We like racing each other, and we can be complete friends and buddies until we put the helmet on and pull into the water box. And after that, I'm going to take your head off. That's just how it feels. And Craven the same way. That's just how we are and stuff. And we'll cut up and give each other shit at the end of the track. After we get done, whether I win or he wins. So, but the rivalry is good for the sport. It's good to get people interested, get people. I've had, nothing but comments of going, man, you guys' videos just crack me up. Just everywhere you go. And that kind of stuff helps, everything out. It helps the Titans. It helps Mad with your new series. It helps every deal. And without rivalry like that, there really probably wouldn't be much people paying attention to nothing. That's kind of what I think.
No, good. Go ahead, Craven.
There are guys that you respect when you draw them, that that you're going to have to put a tune-up in it that is the fastest that will go down. And you will have guys, that run a 60 or 70, and you can't write them off. You've got to go down, but you don't have to cut an 01 or an 02 light. You don't have to run what the track will hold. And there are several guys that we race with, Russell and the Browns, either Devin or Jason, both excellent drivers, and anything they have has always been fast as hell. Tony Phillips, Andrick's back, Heckman, Daniel Anders. There are several cars that nobody likes to draw. Now, we love racing each other, but a lot of the races that we go to are chip draw races. Nobody's trying to draw Russell first round, right? Nobody's trying to draw Devin Brown, first round. And that creates a rivalry, but it's a rivalry, out of respect. There's some guys that you like to beat too. I had a year, I think I red lit against Russell 3 times in a year. One was in the finals at the spring shootout at Mocan. It's the spring shootout at Ozark. I went red and Russell spun and I went a 003 red and Russell spun and ran a 650. Took the back when there was 2 return roads. Hell, I didn't even know I went red. I wasn't watching. I never saw him, because usually this is you guys can relate to this. Here's a turbo guy against a nitrous car. they're going to be ahead of you at the 330, right? And when I never saw Russell from the time I let off the button, hell, I'm not even looking at the scoreboard. I'm in there celebrating, right? Here I come bebopping back up the return road, and Russell and James and Kurt Maynard down there high-fiving and laughing and shit. And I look, I'm like, it's like,
Oh no.
good job, dude. You went red. Right?
I was like, what did you go red for? I hadn't made a pass all weekend, and you went red.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing to your question. You know, when you have a rivalry, you have rivalries are created by people that are beating you, you know, and that's when you know you have to bring your A game, help pressure bust pipes. And you know, it's good for the sport. Russell and I jab back and forth at each other just because it's fun and we both get along, but it's good for the fans that follow it. You know, how everybody's looking for, you know, what damn video has Russell put together of me holding Blake like a baby. And it took me, I was like, I couldn't find the meme generator he's using, right? I'm like, how in the hell has he, hey, Debbie's on here making a comment that I went red 4 times. Thanks for keeping track, Debbie.
This was one of those videos.
That was the best one.
Yeah, I was like, where in the hell is he getting this thing? And, you know, during the week, you'll be busy as hell. So this morning, I'm up at like 5 searching for this damn video meme generator. I found it. And I was like, I got you now. I got your ass, buddy. But we knew we were coming on here, so it was a good time.
Yeah.
I was working in the shop today, and like every once in a while I'd have to go check my phone just to see if there was something new that popped up that I could grab a screenshot out of for tonight.
Oh, the grease one was awesome, man. I watched it like 10 times. Good stuff. Good stuff. Gary, how the comments coming?
Good. Let's take a second and catch a couple here. Zach West, I think it was, had this comment for Russell. It says, Russell, do you like the radial stuff better or the Pro Street big tire stuff? I'm pretty sure that was Zach.
I like the radial. I'd done the Pro Street for a while, and like Craven said earlier, there's just not that much racing to be done with big tires anymore. And you know, always kind of been a radial guy, and so once I got this car going, I decided we tested, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. I'd say 3 or 4 times, probably in one test session. And after that, I brought it back home when the Titans race was starting, and I'm like, well, hell, there's no rules, and all we need's tires on there. I was like, well, I'm gonna put small tires on, go small tire race until they kick me out, you know. And so that's what we done. But I like the radial racing stuff. So, and we want to see Zach running 499 too here this year. So,
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, this is Zach also, the Facebook user here. This is Zach West also. He says, hands down, the best people to hang around, funny stories, and just good people, the whole ORP racers.
Nice.
Yep, we have a good time. We try to have a good time and everybody usually gets along and everybody has a good time, and we try our best to all you know, pit together when we go somewhere like Mad and stuff like that. We all help each other, and you know, of course we'll help anybody. You know, everybody knows that we try to help everybody to go. We want to see everybody successful and make the race and get down the race and you know everything. So,
yep. And this comment here is from Al with the Titans. He said, these guys are a couple of our biggest cheerleaders. Other drivers too. They all promote us very well. That's from Al.
Cool.
From
Al and
seeing, yeah, I talk with Al and Larry a lot, and you know, especially since we're saving the track at Ozark, and when you get behind the scenes, you see that you have different groups of racers. You know, you'll have racers that they're like Russell that just do anything they can to promote the track. And then, you know, you have guys that think they're God's gift to the trans brake and feel like that nothing you ever do is good enough for them. And in my opinion, I see the financials on racetracks. You guys know how hard it is that you struggled out there, tracks closing, and the Maybriers keeping Matt out there running that thing out of their pocket and stuff. If we as racers don't do the stuff like Russell and I do, and and other guys, as Al says, to promote the series, it's not going to be there, and you're not going to have a place to race, and you're not going to have a place to bring your kids. Hell, James Foreman, Russell's son, he grew up at the racetrack, and you see him now. Hell, James had a full beard in 6th grade, but he's he graduated last year. Russell, he's been out of school a year. He's a good kid, and you see Adam Phillips and just Craig Ondrick's kids and stuff that come up at the drag strip, and it's one of the places that the family is still intact. If you look at there's not going to be a lot of this dumb stuff that we see going on in our country really happening at the drag strip, at least not in the Midwest. And I'm going to do everything that I can to keep that going and to support these tracks and support these series. And I appreciate what Al Schoenwetter and Larry Hunt have done with Titans. I alluded to this earlier when I said that Al said we are the mercenaries now, and they're billing Titans now as the fastest small tire series in the Midwest. And I put this out there last year, just trying to get some out-of-towners to come to Ozark and, build a small tire program there. But I meant it when I said it. I said I would put up $10,000 to any person that hasn't been to one of our tracks that we race, Mid-America, Mocan, Centerville, Bonne Terre, Ozark. If you haven't been there and you're an out-of-towner, I said, if you could come there and win a race, I would put 10,000 on top of the pot. And it stirred up some controversy on social media, but I feel that way. I'm not taking anything away from the straight killers that are running no time classes in Texas, but the surfaces that we run on, I'm telling you, we're hauling ass running, teens and below on these tracks. And we all support each other. If I've dropped a valve before Jason and had Jason Brown in the next round, and he's been in my pit helping me fix my car so he could race me the next round when they're running for the championship. Right. That's you don't get that in a lot of sports and a lot of competitions. And that's the stuff that makes you family. Tim Webb said something earlier in a comment. He said a lot of people don't get, that when you leave, that's your stress reliever. This is what we do. There's not a day that I don't think about race cars. There's not a day I don't think about drag racing or, what we could do to make it better. And that's why I'm 54 years old, and I've been like that. My mom would tell you since I'm, a little bitty kid.
Yeah.
Hey, Craven, wasn't it like 2 or 3 years ago you even helped sponsor the small tire class at Arc City, right?
I did. I went out when Danny Davis was doing LSX versus the world, and I remember Lamar Swindell came out there in a Gold Dust second gen Camaro, just gorgeous freaking car, and ran a 43, which at the time was just wickedly fast, and I liked that track. And you guys are, you're 7 hours from me, but you're kind of in the epicenter of where we race. If you could, I would love to see a Midwest Championship series between Mocan, Mad, and Ozark, and where you ran 12 races or something, but I wanted that track to make it. And I liked it when I was out there. I liked Chris Maybrier, and that's when Brendan Mock was racing out there a lot. And he had that car that he just finished building that he ended up, that Heckman's in now. And they were going to do, I talked to Chris Stewart or Justin McMurtry. They were talking about doing a small tire series out there, but they kind of needed a sponsor. And I get it. Hell, that's how it is at every racetrack. It's hard to, people think that you're making a bunch of money around the racetrack. I know these tracks in the Midwest aren't. But I called Chris up and said, hey man, I want to sponsor your small tire series. How many races are you going to have? And I think he said, whatever it was, I gave $6,000 to sponsor that small tire series out there, just hoping to build kind of what's going on now, a contingent of 15 fast ass 10.5 cars that, are a bunch of good guys that just give everything to do it and, promote the sport. But yeah, I'd sponsor some races every now and then.
Oh, we definitely appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate that years ago and whatever you may or may not do in the future. We appreciate you.
What do you guys think about the Titans of 10.5 bringing in that limited 275 class?
I think it's a good deal. I mean, we obviously need to get some of the cars that are not coming to race, because obviously, we've kind of, gotten faster and faster and faster, and it takes a lot of money to go as fast as what we do. And it's, it's nice to have a different class, so that some of the guys that just, don't have the car, or don't have, the cars have evolved so much that they're, it's nice to get another class to get some of them guys out of the garage and get them to come back and go, hey, here, this is a better class fitted for you, probably, come race, and try to get everybody back involved, because that has obviously been some of the complaint too, that, there's been 4, 5, 6, 7 of us running away from the class, but it's always going to be that way. I don't care how many damn rules you put on anything. We all get it figured out. We all run on the tracks we run on, and, not saying anything bad about any of the tracks we run on, but like Craven said, it's not Texas. It's not, some of the flypaper tracks that they get to run on down there, and like Craven said, also Georgia, stuff like that. And hey, if you think it's your fast and you want to come up and run with us at the Titans, hey, bring it up, bring it on, come on, because I'm gonna tell you, you better do a little testing. Come up here and do a little testing, spend a little money doing some testing, because you ain't gonna show up and off the trailer and bust any of our butts. So I can guarantee that. So there's been a couple up here that's been testing and trying, and just now.
It's been a couple that have tried.
Yeah. Yep. And it's took quite a few trips for them to start getting something figured out. So,
the limited 275 class is something that Nate Bell and I came up with last year at Ozark, and is for exactly the reason that Russell said. And one of the guys that I talked to, smart guy, Gary Spaniak, we'd talked about this too, what Russell just said. There's 6, 7, 8 cars that started, moving away from the pack in what they're now calling Outlaw 10.5, which, we grew up Outlaw 10.5 being a 33 10.5, but a 275 drag radial. There's, cars that are running low 4s, but then there's these guys that have raced forever, guys that I watched that, I remember watching Travis Gore just kick the crap out of people, and then you work and your life change, your car goals and stuff change. And we had a lot of cars that were good, supportive racers that were running, 470s, 460s, 470s, 480s, Junior Surface, Brian Snyder, just a bunch of my friends. And I told Nate, we need to come up with a rule set that will keep these cars at 470 and up, right? Because I really wanted to see 480s win the class, and basically that's what did last year. And at Ozark, at least, that was our biggest class last year. That was a non-index class. But hell, we'd have 13, 14 cars show up and limited, and that championship went down to hell the last race, and a nitrous car won it. Junior Surface won it. But I think, and I love Al. Al has done more for drag racing in Southwest Missouri probably than anybody in the last 15 years. But I'm in a group chat with him, and I have his nickname Al Granite Head Schoenwetter, right? Because Al's hard headed, and he doesn't. Al, through experience, is not one of those guys that just runs out and changes something. He wants to know that it's going to work. And one of the biggest compliments I think I got from operating the track last year was watching, these other tracks adopt this limited 275 class that we came up with. And it's nothing but good for drag racing. I'm glad they did. People ask me, I said, I don't care if you copy and paste our rules and use the same name. I'd prefer that you did, so people don't have to change their cars from racing at one place to the other. And I think that class, there's some guys that were trying to run, they had goals of running 30s. And then when you got guys like Foreman and Brown out there clicking off these teens, Jake Mason, Heckman, Anders, guys are fast. I've been faster than any of them, but it made the guys like, damn, I just spent all this money, and my car's going to run 430, and I'm not going to be there anymore. Right. So you can do a lot less maintenance, not beat on your stuff near as hard. And I hear you guys talk about it on your podcast. You guys have been building your car, and I hear Gary talking about, hey, maybe I should put a small block in this thing. This limited 275 class is calling my name. But I'll shut up. I'm talking now.
No, that's good. Grab that bottom comment with Chris Stewart there, Gary.
Yep. Let's talk about this for a second. Chris Stewart says, what do you think the times will be in small tire for 2024? Teens, ? And there also has to be a question mark about running that 399 too. I
think it'll be a 399. It might be a 399 with a 99, but it's going to be a 399. So somewhere at some track.
It could be in the spring or the fall.
I think there's 6 of us that have already been in the teens. And then I've been a 10 as far as the tracks that we run on. We went a 10, I think, with a 113 60 foot. So that'll. And don't think that I haven't seen the guys, at M&M picking up truckloads of lockup transmissions. And don't think there was a reason that I knew how much Marty's P-pump converter cost before he said how much it cost.
Yeah.
So, there's as long as the glue is there, got the BASF made lutenol, and lutenol is the adhesive in the glue process, and they're not making it anymore. And there's a limited supply of lutenol. So as long as these glue companies can make an adhesive that binds the rubber on the track, there will definitely be in the 3s. If glue ends up being like a bunch of glue that some of the places saw right after COVID, that you might as well be prepping with axle grease. I don't know. I do know I was at a conference that Kurt Johnson was at, and then also the owner of Renegade, right? And really, really smart guys in the prep world. And Renegade actually stopped making glue just so they could work on a formula post lutenol. So, you know, they're like, we didn't want to just keep trying to get better with lutenol and then not have it. But to answer your question, Chris Stewart, we've already been in the teens. If you would finish your damn car, or if you wouldn't have sold the most beautiful freaking Nova on the planet, maybe you'd know that.
Yeah, I think that Mustang he's building is actually Rodney's car.
Yeah.
I think it's Rodney's. It's he's
Everybody's
building for Rodney.
as long as it paints it. Yeah.
Leaves it white. This Facebook user comment here. This is Al. Al says Titans the quest for the trees. The threes. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
He also says he's going to prep with Coke syrup. If you look down there.
Yep, that's Alice is going to use Coke syrup.
So call it right now. Who do you think is going to get it first?
Titans starts at Centerville first. Russell, do we have I don't know if we have a race before them. It might come down to just whoever.
No, we don't.
We don't have
Centerville's our first Titans.
Then it'll probably happen at a radio prep test session at Ozark before Centerville. And it'll come down to answer your question. There's so many guys that are capable of it. It'll probably depend on who gets to first. You know, there's like
I'm going to say it's going to be Jason Brown.
Okay.
Sorry, Craven. I didn't say it was going to be me. I just it just seems to be the luck of the draw. I'm going to say Jason Brown's going to do it first. Devin will. Dev driving the car. So
I went to 24 first last year, the day before Russell went to 17.
We're definitely going to come out swinging. I can tell you that. There won't be no. We'll have the big bats on and be swinging. So I think all of us will. So we're either going to go down the track or we're going to have a spin fest. So that's probably what's fixing to happen. So
I would probably say the same thing that Russell did if you made me bet something about the Browns. Like, I'll tell you this, Devin is a wonderful kid, like wonderful sportsman. Jason and Tab have been spectacular parents. And at the end of the track, he's the same guy, whether you win or lose. He's your biggest cheerleader if you win. Jason, on the other hand, would rather eat cat shit than run second, right? And I can assure you, like Russell and I talked about this, you always try to decide what lane you want. If you got lane choice, I always just check and see what lane did Brown take, right? Because Tab will go out there and walk the track and pick the lane for him. And Russell will tell you, hell, they're better. Tab and then Tony Phillips, also Stanley's really good at evaluating a track. But I always just line up. If I see Devin in the front of a lane, they're always up there 3 days before the event starts. I just line up. I line up in the same lane that they do. But if I was going to guess, I imagine Jason's a hell of a tuner, and he knows what he can do he knows what a surface will hold. If he's got the surface, I mean, that car's a bad.
And he's always swinging. He's always swinging. There's no ease. It's always swinging.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
always.
Pro Charge, the Soma big block Chevy. It's an LDR car. I mean, it's there, and they didn't have that much data with it. So that'd be my prediction too.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab this while we're talking about it. This is from Al. Al says, security leak, working on a bounty for the first 3. Half of the money to the driver, half of the money to the prep crew. Baron Racing is involved in this, hoping to get Marty Chance on board. ? And they talked about that when we talked to Larry and Al on their little show we did. So,
And he said this
I think it's a good deal.
yep.
first one's got to be the Titans race. It's got to be, can't be a test session before. It's got to be, the E1, if you will.
It's got to be Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saturday during the race.
Yeah. So that'll be it's great energy for the track and for the series, the whole Midwest. And, I hope it happens.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Hopefully it happens at more than one. Hopefully it happens at more than one track this year. So it's not just a fluke at one. And we'd like to see that 399 at Mad and ORP and Centerville. And that'd be pretty phenomenal for the series for sure. And each track and how they prep and the track crew doing their job, which every track crew, from every race that we go to, work their butts off, and you don't think that they don't, even when Mother Nature's kicking them in the butt, or like I said, the glue shortage and all that stuff has kicked everybody in the butt there for a few years, man, they still just worked, and and it's, we take that for granted. Sometimes we bitch and complain more than we should about that. So, I just want to say that. So
that's fair.
This is Al also. He says maybe a 3-second club, the first 3 cars to do it. Your thoughts on that? Won't be me. Won't be,
I think
we got more than 3, I think, can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Maybe some jackets or something like back in the day.
Yeah. I think we'll be sitting here this time next year, and it's going to be who's going to run a 380. If Russell's car has been 370 before, it's not, it just depends on the surface.
We ain't running at Florida though.
Yeah.
They were.
Chris Stewart asked a question in a comment if I was ever going to run the Buick at a Titans race. And I'd said for the last couple of years, that car is not in the spirit of the class, right? There's when we were running 440s and 450s, and hell, I had the record at Ozark with a 436 for 2 or 3 years. It's not in the spirit of the class to unload a 370s car on them. And then if you did it, you'd probably need to do it at Tulsa, because otherwise, tracks that have a transition in it and stuff, those cars are finicky. You start getting down in there. So to answer your question, Chris, I wasn't ever going to, but these guys keep getting this damn fast. I'm not going to have any choice. How I still drive to and from the lanes with a car that's got headlights and turn signals. The thing was on E85 pump gas until just last year, but I might have to. Hopefully, I was going to go 481X this year in the RX-7. Blake threw a fit. Wanted to keep the damn, terrible business decision. He could have had the opportunity to build a whole new turbo setup and everything, but no, he wants to keep the dump truck motor in there.
Leave it alone.
Tried and true dump truck.
Larry Hunt says thinking of a 3-second jacket.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be cool.
Russell and I are still trying to win that Titans championship. I think something will happen.
I can't win a championship. It's just not. I don't have that much luck, it seems like. So.
And this is Al. He says it's something cool. It's a work in progress.
Craven, change it up for a second, back to being a track owner. I noticed you brought in the JJ arm drop program, and you're going to put that back on your schedule this year. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we do. We've got it back May this year. Before JJ came to Ozark last year, people had reached out and said, you need to do this, you need to do that. And when JJ's crew came, lady that kind of runs his stuff behind the scenes, Pam, used to be the manager at Memphis, and they got a big business. They're I don't know how redneckish or crazy or down home or country they look on TV. But I can assure you that's a business. JJ is authentic. He's all about the fans. He's the PT Barnum of no prep. He'll be out there foot racing and the crowds love it. From a racer standpoint, you're going to have a hard time outrunning him. But it's good for the track. You pick up trash for 3 days afterwards, but it's one of the things that, make sure the track stays there. And I didn't have anything but, I don't have anything but good things to say about that whole program and the way they ran it. I would, as a racer, I'd want it to go faster, but from a spectator standpoint, I mean, my God, the guy's got a cult following.
Yeah, for real.
Yep. Good money can bring people in the gates for the tracks.
Absolutely.
You'd be surprised how fast they're running on no prep.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, below 450.
Right.
This is Cameron Marsoff. We all know Cameron. He says these guys are a badass to race with. We had so much fun racing with them and everyone from that area. We can't wait to get back up their area this year. All the small tire guys that haven't been to these other tracks around them have to check them out. Very welcoming people and badass racetracks. Class A badass racers. That's from
Appreciate
Cameron.
that, Cameron. Well, he's got his stuff back together and looking good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, right.
I'm telling you, I'm ready for a race. Like Harper's on here, and I talked to him last weekend, and Devin and Jason couldn't say enough good stuff about how well they prepped the track for that race out there in October. And Gary's saying they're spraying PJ and that they will throw up a jacket for being in the 3-second club out there. But I would love to look at a ladder and see, Tim Webb, Cameron Marsoff, Brandon Mock, John Hurd, John Davidson, all of
Chopper.
these. Dude, Chopper's fast. I was standing behind that car at Steele, Alabama when it ran a 417 and 275 legal trim. There are some fast cars in eastern Kansas. And you don't think that any of those guys that I just named are any pushovers. And Cameron's got his car back out there looking good. And it's going to be one to watch too. You're not going to see that guy in limited 275. Those guys are some headers.
I think I might need to paint my car white.
Well, there's a trim going there.
Jeez, these white cars are fast. Man.
Can't name it Betty White though.
I won't name it nothing.
Betty being bad.
Being bad.
Mr. Harper from Mid-America Dragway says Mid-America Dragway will give a jacket to anyone that makes a 3-second run during a race event. Be part of the club. That's cool, Mr. Harper.
Cool.
Hey, they are 100% committed to making that track work. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Him and his wife were at a track operators meeting last weekend, and you're not going to outwork them. They're committed to making that track successful.
Yep. This is Todd Bennett. He says Russell and Craven need to put on big tires and come play in Pro Street.
Hey Todd, I think we're running faster on small tires. They protested me in Pro Street. Russell will tell you this. I entered Pro Street on a radial and they won, and they cried that my tires were too small, that I shouldn't be in the class.
Scared of the tire.
Man. Rough crowd.
That's all right. I've tried match racing. I've tried match racing Brent Deputy and stuff at the shootouts and stuff. I told him, I said, I'm sure we can make this happen. He told me to put big tires on. He wasn't going to race me.
We tried it last year and the rain got us, but we're going to do this year. We're going to do a small tire versus big tire shootout on a Friday night at one of our races and just see who wants to let their nuts drag. We'll prep one lane for slick tires. We'll prep one for radial.
Yeah.
Todd did go out there and run a 407 last race of the season. Now that car is wickedly fast. And I know he's
very fast.
He's got a Larry Jeffers now, and it's not getting any slower.
Yeah, with sick week, right? Small tire and a big tire kind of running it off this week in sick week.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think there's a lot of stuff we get comfortable not changing anything at tracks, and if you don't develop and start some new stuff, you got to look at it from a spectator's point of view. They don't want to see the same 6 cars racing each other week after week.
Right.
Another Kansas guy, Brandon Sandelin, out there just hauling ass on big tires. It comes to Matt. He won a 98 at Ozark.
He's probably working on his car right now.
Yeah. I saw JR on the feed.
Mm-hmm.
There's another huge supporter of drag racing. Those guys have done so much for drag racing. JR, just class act.
Mm-hmm. So talking about it, Russell Foreman, what's your plans for 2024?
Well, first off, I think we're going to go down to Texas here in March and do some stuff at Extreme and maybe even Evandale Raceway here March before things get started around here. So do a little testing down there and then make some runs we've never been, and like to go to some new tracks, and it's always fun to go to a new track, have a new adventure. So that's kind of where we're at this year here first off. So hopefully everything goes well, and we'll be at the first Titans race in Centerville. So
April 19th. What about you, Craven?
Believe it or not, we're gonna do some no preps. We raced Builders Brawl in October, and one of the guys that I've been a fan for and bought his T-shirts for years, Brent Self, was there, and it's kind of like Rodney or Gary were talking about me drawing Derek Kelly in the first round at Texas Radio Roundup. I drew Brent in the first round at Builders Brawl and ended up getting around him, and went to the finals in a race that had Boosted Ego there and Brent and Kelly Jones and just a bunch of really fast guys. And I know what our draggy said, and then I know Brent really encouraged us and gave us some pointers. So believe it or not, I think we're going to try to hit some no preps. We're going to still do, we'll switch the car back over. You see Isaac Preston doing the radial and the no prep stuff. We're going to try to do some no prep stuff. Talk to Ryan Mitchell about getting involved with some stuff. And I mean, we're going to try to make a run at it on slicks. And if that didn't work, we can always come back and run middle of the pack with these fast radial guys.
Yeah. See, Arc City's got a no prep series, so we'll see that take off this year.
Glad to see it. And I'm not a no prep guy, but these front, you'd be surprised how fast these front side no preps are. I mean, they're guys running 20s.
Yeah. Hey, let's stop for a second. Hey, Gary, do you see what Craven's doing to you? Hold your cup up. I don't know if you've been watching this the whole show. Okay, go ahead, Craven. When you take a drink, he takes a drink.
Cheers, buddy.
when you were off the screen earlier, I put the Stanley Cup up here, and I told Russell and Rodney, I said, every time Gary takes a drink with the Stanley Cup, I'm going to and see how long he takes to catch on.
I did not. I did not catch on. I'm a little slow over here. It went right over my head.
Good stuff.
I've only got water in mine. What are you drinking?
Same.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Getting it hard tonight.
I need a sponsorship. Maybe I could get Andy Frisell on here with the First Form energy drink.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, that's good stuff.
I got, let's see, I'm going to do this. And would this be a fair picture to represent your guys' cars? Craven's dump truck and Russell's locomotive. Isn't that what you called it, Craven? You called it the locomotive engine the other day?
Yeah, that thing's got a train engine in it. I mean, it's got a 74-inch stroke, wasn't it, Russell? Hey, this is the thing. You ever told all those guys, all those nitrous guys, you know, they say all those engines are over 1,000 cubic inches. They say 959 because that's what the rule said at Ducks
Right.
races or Tyler Crossnose stuff, PDRA.
903.
Yeah, it's a 903. Yeah, on one side. Why does it say Caterpillar on it? You just heard him say earlier he sheared all the converter bolts off because Jade Cox told him it's like a diesel.
Yeah. So you can't shut it off wide open like you've been doing all your other nitrous motors. That's why you keep tearing it up, dummy. And I go, okay, well, it's a new experience for me, so don't yell at me, Dad.
Russell come back from Texas with those 3-second time slips. There's the Russell's winter upgrade.
There's his new car, right?
Russell's been working out. Look at this.
Yeah.
He's got some new shorts, new wardrobe.
Freshly cut off.
Those videos
Yeah.
were great.
Yeah,
this week. Wow.
You see the one I did
been working on lightening it up.
Yeah. Fancy and furious.
You see the one where I did where he stole the RX-7?
Yeah.
You give away your big secret. The hood scoop.
That's good. That's a lawnmower. That's a lawnmower hood.
Lawnmower head.
You gotta let that air in. Let that big dog breathe.
There you go.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, we've been having fun racing each other. So like I said, it's we usually that's what happens when we get bored and we're not racing. So we have to entertain ourselves a different way besides giving each other hell at the track. We just figure out something else to do. That's what bored minds do when you got nothing to do during the winter.
Yeah, right.
And so this was like it must have been a Jerry Springer gender reveal or a baby daddy moment. Maybe.
You are not the father.
Poor Blake. Hey, Blake gets drug into this stuff and can't defend himself. Danny's probably not letting him.
Then y'all's beating him up. Poor
Yeah, hey,
Yeah,
you got
picking
the whole
on him.
crew on me.
Oh my goodness.
And we saw the love.
Oh yeah.
This
That
one
was
was the best one. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
God, that
this
was
was
the best one.
Yeah.
I laughed and laughed, and I waited 2 days to put that on. I was like, I was waiting on the time period.
This is good too. I always wanted a turbo daddy.
Some of these things you've got to know the backstory.
Yeah.
When was it? 2 years ago? Was it 2 or 3 years ago at Bon Terre? Russell hit a little bump and broke a valve on the nitrous bottle, and the whole cockpit of the car just 30 pounds of nitrous, 20 pounds of nitrous.
The gauge fell off about I think it was the second bump in the track on the right lane, and it filled up the car, and the windshield was as white as the car was. David Gott was standing down there at the 330, and he says, when you were coming towards it, he goes, we couldn't see anything in the windshield. It was white. And obviously I kind of tapped the brakes and a little bit hard, and kind of the car jumped to the sideways. And I was like, oh crap. And I mean, I don't have any vision. I can't see nothing. I have this, we wear a radio, and not one of my crew was going, hey, turn right a little bit. And I'm trying to whoa this thing, and I know the wall's coming because I can't see nothing. And I just got it stopped and bounced the front end off the wall. And when I opened the door, it looked like Cheech and Chong movie. I mean, there there was the 20. All the nitrous was in the cab with me, and I'm holding my breath. The only thing I did was hit the radio and said, "Hey, nitrous is filling full of cab was filling full of nitrous," and my wife she goes, she didn't know what I said. So yeah, it was me and Von Terra have a love hate relationship. I punted their cone that they had sitting at the 330, probably sat there for 5 years because it was pretty hard. It blew the front end off my car and put imprints and stuff. So, and then we won the $10,000 race when we were no prepping down there. So we've had our love hate relationship, I guess. So, but I love the track. I keep going back. Of course, we got to be hard headed being drag racers. We either hard headed or dumb or ain't got no sense. But I like Bon Terre. The crowd at Bon Terre is awesome. People down there are very awesome. I mean, it's unbelievable. When I had Big Booty Judy down there running the no prep stuff, and I mean, the kids and everybody coming up, and I was down there with Jamin Hogg, and he was running the Frig. I mean, his car was way more awesome than mine, and these kids and these people are just, I love Betty White, all this stuff, and they were mad that I sold Betty White, or not Betty White, but the Big Booty Judy. They were mad because I sold Big Booty Judy and bought Betty White. They're all like, "Man, why did you sell her?" And I was like, well, I wanted something different, but it's and same way with Mad, first time we went to Mad and stuff, Tim Slavin's come down there and Mark, and they were helping me out and trying to get the car going, and we sure missed him, but he was down there always for words of encouragement and telling you, well, that was dumb, or you done a good job there. He was on the parachutes good after turning sideways, stuff like that. So, but yeah, we had fun at Mad, and we were hoping to go back, at the end of the year. Like I said earlier before we started this, at the end of the year, where Devin and Jason there went their 417, 16, whatever they run there. I can't remember all the numbers, but we just couldn't make it. So had some unforeseen problems and couldn't get there. So we were really sad about that. We wanted to come. So we're definitely coming to Mad, probably more than once. So it's on the plan, trying to make the schedules and trying to, hopefully everything works out. I do heating and air for a business, for a living. So when it's hotter than hell outside, I'm busier than hell. When it's cold outside, I usually don't have time for nothing. So
yeah. That's why radio races spring and fall.
Yep. That's it. It's time to go run.
I will say this. I want to tag on Russell's sentiment about Bon Terre. We'll usually go there once a year. When Titans goes to Bon Terre, they have fans that, I mean, they will come around that are like, we wait all year for this race. They'll come. We had hero cards made just for that race. And
right.
I won that race, that Titans race this year. Funny, quick story. I've got Devin in the finals. And if you run, I think, Russell, you probably got the track record at Bon Terre, don't you? Didn't you go a 40-something there?
Yeah, with the 784, I went a 40-something, 1 or 2, or I don't know if it's still there or not, but it's a hard track to run fast on.
Yeah, but if you can generally win something there running in anything in the 50s, you're gonna win. It's fast. And I've got Devin in the finals, and Devin drew the right lane. The left lane's a little faster. And Blake's like, "What do you want to do?" And we ran a 60 flat the round before in the right lane. And I said that we had in the right lane, so we thought we'd go 56 or something in the left. And I said, put 10 pounds on the button just in case, right? And I don't usually run a scramble button. So Blake loads 10 pounds and he used my parachute button, but it's on my right finger, right? So I've got to deploy the chutes manually. I'm at the 330 and Devin's 3 feet out on me, right? And pulling. I reach over there and grab the scramble. And at Bon Terre's short, so you go past the scoreboard, you throw the chutes, and they'll hit right at the beams. Well, I'm on the button. Now I'm either going to run off the end of the track and win the race, or I'm going to lose the race and throw the parachute. So I stayed on the button, and somehow and one thing Al just said, Barron Racing was on board on the 3 Second Club. Heckman and John Gentry had sent me a set of big chutes right before that race, and it saved my ass. Devin will tell you, I slid to the end of that damn thing, slid around the corner. But it was a hell of a race, and we'll never load a scramble button on a parachute button again.
Right. Yeah. So quick question, both of you, and we have Craven start this time. Just tell us about your most memorable race. And it may be a race where you fought it the whole way, or maybe it might or a story where, you won that event. You know what I mean? You have that race in your head, and you know what I mean? Your most memorable race.
I would have two that stand out, and one that's, that will always be special. My first Pro 275 race at South Georgia, Nate Bell and Chris Bell and Joseph Miner and I went down there, and I'm racing Nick Agostino, Mo Hall, Manny Bajinga, Tommy Yeomans, Roger Holder, everybody that I've seen forever. And we start going rounds, and my phone starts blowing up, and it's guys like, it's a big name guys like, I've got Tito messaging me saying, hey, we're watching you, and sending videos off of Flow Racing. And anyway, we ran into Mo Hall in the semis, and he ended up winning and going ahead and winning the event. But that was big. I never thought that I'd do that on a big stage. But the most memorable and the biggest win of my racing was 2 years ago when we won Street Machines at Ozark. And it's because Blake came to me before the race, and he said, hey, I want to win this race. And we had been to the finals before in Street Machines, and Heckman got us like a 41 to a 43 1 year, and then Tony Phillips got me on a whole shot the other year. But 2 years ago, Blake said, I want to win this race, and we trashed a valve train Friday night, and Blake and Craig Amtemeyer thrashed, and Daniel Campbell opened the machine shop at 1 a.m. And I mean, all I did was let off the button. Those guys worked their asses off, and we won that race. And just the reaction of Blake's whole family, his wife, Danny, they were just crying, and just, they wanted, winning Street Machines. Don Irwin said that, he said winning Street Machines is a big deal. Right. Because that race is, this year will be the 34th annual. Wow. And when we won that race, it just, and anybody that's a racer can tell you this, when you get to the end of the return road, you're down there by yourself. It's you and maybe the other guy grabbing his chute. And when you get out of the car, you're down there, and it gives you that's probably my favorite place on the planet, is at the end of the track on the return road, getting out of the car to put the chutes in after a good run or after winning an event. And I sat down there and just I just said a prayer and just thank God for allowing me the privilege to be where I was and be with the people that I were with. And, I was just incredibly thankful and just full of gratitude about it at these Street Machines a couple of years ago.
Oh, great story right there. Russell, I don't know if you heard that, looking at your most memorable moment, memorable race, or biggest win of your career.
I would probably say the night that I was in my my 73 Vega, purple Vega. We called it Barney, and that name is pretty anonymous to a couple people in the Pro Street area when we were running Pro Street. So
beating Brent Deputy in Street Machines and listening to him as I got down the end of the track and it was quiet. And I finally hear him coming around the corner at the big end there. I could hear him going, "God damn it, Foreman, Barney beat me." And I haven't let him live that down either. So either has Casey Campbell and stuff. So that is probably the one of the biggest ones that I can think of. Other than that, small tire, I would say, we've won quite a few. I mean, first time I won in the Nitrous Mafia car was it was at Rogersville. I can't remember the actual which shootout it was and stuff. That was probably the best feeling because we had fought and spent a ton of money to try to beat these guys that had been kicking our butts for 2-3 years before that and stuff. So, hell, they're all fun. So, Bon Terre, I had one at Bon Terre too. So, winning that $10,000 race. So with Big Booty Judy, I should say. So, so we've had a few. We've been very fortunate and very lucky to be doing this for a long time. And gosh, we've spent a lot of money, but it's been a lot of fun. I don't know what else we'd be doing in life of anything else. So.
Right on.
Do you guys have any hobbies outside of racing that isn't racing related, racing involved?
No. Live, eat, and shit it. So that's the bad part. Yep. You either gotta live eating stuff and shit this, or you're not going to be successful. Just the way it is. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely. If you're not at this level, that if you're not race carring every day, you're not going to run at the top.
Yeah.
This is Debbie Foreman. She says we eat, live, and sleep it. Is that your wife, Russell?
Yes, it is. That is. Okay, yeah. Cool. And she's bracket raced, and like I said, I had the dumb moment of having her bracket racing and me running no prep, and James doing junior dragster racing there for a while, and it was quite the feat to try to keep up with everybody. So, but we did it. We run, and it's just all we do. We got no choice, I guess. So that's just what we do.
There's nobody at the track more passionate than Debbie Foreman. Holy hell!
She's very passionate. That's a good word.
You do not want to.
She's put up with me, so.
And hey, they know I love Debbie Foreman, but I mean, I'm telling you right now, if somebody was did Russell dirty, hold on, Gary, I got to keep up. You treat me.
Come on, I think you're a couple behind.
There's been more than one time that Russell's had to pull Debbie and James off of somebody.
Yeah, they're good at embarrassing me sometimes. So but the bad part is we're very passionate in what we do, and we put a lot into helping the track and helping tracks and helping the Titan series and stuff like that, and we're very passionate in it, and sometimes that gets out of control. Sometimes I'll have to admit that, but it's not because we hate. It's because we're just very, we love the sport. So
absolutely.
That's
like
it.
I always said, I don't like fishing or camping, so I guess I'm going to keep her drag racing. So
that's right.
Got it. All got something in common there. Hey, Craven, you mentioned, Pro 275 down in Georgia. You think you ever go back and play with that again with Duck?
We completely rebuilt that car, new chassis. I mean, the only thing that's the same is essentially the body and the screw blower. Went EFI with it, went all fuel tech. It's a Liberty 5-speed chance lockup deal. Darren Mayer at DMP's got the C-drive C-rotor screw blower on it, and then Dennis McPherson at DMC has become a really good friend, and that's their shop car. But to answer that question, we want to, now that we haven't lit a board in over a year, and it's a new car, so you can't say it's a class car, because we got denied some entries in some no time races. And I put it out there. I'm like, what's a class car? And I wanted them to define it, and I won't say who said it, but somebody that's pretty big in that promotion scene down there says, you want to know the truth, it's basically any car that's faster than these guys.
Hey,
And
get that off my car.
Gary, you were down there at Texas Radial Roundup when that car ran Pro 275 in the first Texas Radial Roundup and lit a board down there at 377. That's been 3 years ago.
Yep.
Right. This is the 4th Texas Radial Roundup that's coming up. But I mean, I have 200 pictures documenting the new build chassis. I mean, hell, it even went down to bare steel in the paint. So it's a new car. In April, it won't have lit a board in 2 years. And if those guys don't let us in a no time race, then I'm going to run them off the internet. So that's the plan. But I mean, I love Duck, love. I think Donald Long should be in the Drag Racing Hall of Fame for what he's done for radial racing, and love his events. I'd love to see him have an unlimited no time class at Radial Outlaws. I know David Reese is running no time and just did some big grudge races with Swanstrom. And it wouldn't surprise me if you see a no time down there for, basically Pro 275 cars, but they haven't lit a board. If that's the case, we'll definitely be down there, and we'll see, Jacob Harper, Big Jake's race. How there'll be a no time, bear shit only shootout pays 50 or 60 grand to win. It's hard to not want to chase that.
Yep.
But I never knew that I would end up with a drag strip that takes a colossal amount of time. It's my passion, so I can't just leave that alone. It's something with that all the time. You've only got so much time in a day, and you gotta do what you gotta do what makes the most sense. And I didn't know, racetrack operation wise, it's much like a race car. It will make you the maddest you've ever been and the happiest you've ever been in the same day. It has made me a huge cheerleader for a lot of the other guys that I race with, and I get emotionally invested in them doing good, and them doing good at our track. And I love the cooperation that Mid-America and MoCan has done to, kind of nobody stepping on each other's toes on shows, and just I love seeing that cooperation. I say competition happens at the bottom, cooperation at the top, in business anyway. So to answer your question, I don't know if I'll be at another Lights Out or not. Don't think that I don't look at the schedule and, text Chris Bell about it. But right now, it's making sure that this track's successful. It's the biggest thing. And then, running our program with 417 Motorsports, and maybe hitting some no time races. Nate Bell's a good friend of mine, and he's involved in that Buick, ass deep, as is Chris Bell with Kinetic Engineering. And you'll definitely, we didn't rebuild it to look at it.
Good luck with that. We'll be watching that for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a unique car.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Gary, I'm pretty clean on my list. How you looking over there?
I only got like one more thing, and it's for Craven. I see you here and there on Facebook once in a while. You'll poke around about drag and drive. Is that something you're interested in with the RX-7?
I go back to what I've said 1,000 times. Blake owns that car. I just pay for it and drive it. So that'll kind of be his decision. I can I can tell him I want to do something with this car, and he'll do what he wants to do with it. And if he wants to go drag week it, I mean, we're going to go solid block. I mean, the engine's sitting there on a stand. You know, you got a freaking Proline Stage 4 481X, and it's still going to be a wet block. I will say this. I'll throw a shameless plug out there. I've worked with some really great guys in the engine building world that I have a ton of respect for. Absolutely love Mike Lau Racing Engines. Got a couple of his engines in my car, in my cars. But I met a guy. Mike is so busy. I mean, and Mike's great too. He doesn't jump the line for anybody. People say he does for Derek Kelly, but I'm telling you, Mike is one of the best, fairest engine builders out there. But I met Dusty Frazier, Fast by Frazier. And he used to work for Russell Baker Racing Engines. If you know anything about engine builders, Russell Baker in the late model in the dirt track world in the 80s and early 90s was, right up there with Earl Gertie. But Dusty's got an engine shop in Oklahoma, Fast by Frazier, and he got involved in our engine program 2 years ago. And they have, you got to realize the engine in that RX-7 is a cast block, cast head, all water jacketed big block Chevy, conventional cylinder head that was on E85 up until last year. And these guys are just hell bent on having a car that you can drive back and forth to the lanes or drive back and forth to the track and running a 3 in it, on a small tire. So to answer your question, I know I went over the river and through the woods, but I'll get to grandma's house. Sick week is coming to Ozark at the end of the year for 666er, and then the circuit dragon drives there at the first of the year. It wouldn't surprise me if we might make one of those. I don't know that the circuit would probably be more likely because 666 is going all the way from starts at Ozark and then ends in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah, it's a one-way deal.
Woo!
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, you beat on that stuff. Matt Moore, just guy up here, just was really successful in some drag and drives. I don't know. I'll probably do it at least once.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain Race Week or something.
Right.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
I want to say something that Al said on there real quick. He said, can't thank Gary and Rodney enough for all the airtime that Titans at 10.5 had. I want to say this to everybody watching. Support these guys. Gary and Rodney aren't making any money off of this, but they're sure spending a lot of time to promote drag racing in the Midwest and promote Mid-America Dragway and working with the Harpers and working with the Maybriers. And man, just thank you guys for what you're doing for small tire racing in the Midwest and drag racing as a whole.
Thank you, Craven. Thank you for recognizing that.
So the shout out for sure. We appreciate that. We just want a platform for the community, and we appreciate that a lot. Keep this thing going. Go ahead, Gary.
Oh, I was just going to read what Al said. Al says, can't thank Gary and Rodney enough for all their airtime that Titans of 10.5 has gotten in the off season. It means a lot. We are looking forward to a great season. You guys have definitely been a part of that. Thank you, Al. Thank you. And we're going to have you, Al and Larry, back on, at some point. Whenever they reach out, we're going to have them on. So talk about the season that's closer and whatever they got going on.
Yeah. Well, like we said before, I'm out of my sheet. I think Gary's getting done with his sheet as well. We're kind of getting to that 2-hour mark, and we'll go over final comments. But while Gary's going over final comments, I'm going to ask Russell first, and then Craven can follow up. But this is the time where you thank the people that help you, and I couldn't do this without you type plug it. And so, Russell, go ahead and start.
Well, it's like I said, we have so many people that help us out. It's like Craven said, we have same people, my Dave and Daniel Campbell down there at Design Performance. and they do phenomenal work for me. Keep my nitrous motor going. Craven was, gives me hell about, changing pistons and stuff. So, these guys have been over backwards to help me out, and my training guy, David Goff from D&J Components. I mean, me and him been buddies forever, and there ain't anybody better as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion. So, and Marty Chance, talked to him Monday on converters that I got, always helpful. My wife for putting up with all my shit. My son's a big part of this too. We like to argue and fuss a lot, but that's because we're father and son. So it just kind of how it is. And, Larry and Al and Craven here with the track, and, everybody keeping everything going. We try to help, in all of them situations too, from our business to help their business. So we have a place to race, and we're dang sure happy to go to Mad and all that stuff, and happy to race at all the places that are hosting us for the Titans race and stuff. And I'm sure I've forgotten somebody, but you know who you are, and we appreciate you. And Taito Race Cars, man, Taito is a class act. Helped me for years. He's there to call up and say, yeah, you've done this is wrong, quit doing that, dummy. Hell, I made good friends with Jay Cox now, and Jay helps me with the motor. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know how to start this thing, let alone how to shut it down at the end of the track and pull all the converter bolts out. So just there's a lot of dumbass things that you really don't know until you start buying this stuff and trying to go fast. And we just it's I don't know who else to thank, but like I said, there's somebody I'm missing, and I apologize, but appreciate having us on for the podcast, and and all that good stuff.
I would appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Craven.
Like I said, Dusty Frazier at Fast by Frazier, huge part of our program. Chris Bell at Kinetic Engineering, Marty Chance at Neil Chance Racing Converters, John Gentry and Justin Heckman at Barron Racing, Nate Bell at Freedom Pad Works, and then of course Blake Hughes at 417 Motorsports. He's my ambassador at Quam. But who I would really like to thank, that people don't often realize support this sport, are the wives.
Yes.
The Danny Hugheses, the Debbie Foremans, the Tara Ondricks, the Tabitha Browns, all these ladies that support our sport and hold it down at home and take care of kids and sacrifice their time so that we can do what we love. I mean, without our wives, Devin's wife, you go around and see anyone that's successful in this sport, they typically have, a good woman behind them. And if I was going to recognize anyone that supported us the most, would be just all the wives in the pits, that whether it's Todd Bennett's wife, Rita, that has breakfast ready in the morning, or Tab that has dinner at midnight, or Craig Ampermeyer's wife, Chelsea, and just, all our wives that we leave at home to hold the fort down while we go do what we love. And truth be told, they're scared to death and just praying that we make it home alive.
Right.
But they sacrifice that because they know we're doing what we love, and they wouldn't take that away from us for anything.
Well said.
Yes, very well said. Yep.
Well said. Well said. Gary, any comments?
Tim Webb said, thank all you guys. Tim Webb is awesome. Can't wait to see him out racing again.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy.
Mrs. Harper said, well said, Craven. Got Rod and Gary are making a difference.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that comment. Thank you for the support. And I think this was
Here the Amish wants to say hi.
Oh, hey.
hello. Is that your son?
That's James.
That's James Foreman.
James
This was
Foreman for president, 2048.
This was
Yeah,
your
that's
wife
that's
here.
that's the Amish. That's the Amish mafia, and he's Rick James wagon. He's racing a red wagon. So
Right on.
This was Debbie Foreman. She said somebody has to pack your chutes.
Yeah, hey, it'll either be Debbie. Hey,
for both of us, yeah.
Hey, they'll watch me packing my chutes, and either Tab will come over, or Danny will come over, or Debbie. I'll be sitting there. I'll be like, hey, if I mess around long enough, one of these ladies will come over here and make sure these things work.
Oh, that's great.
She also says I wouldn't have it any other way. That's from Debbie.
There you go.
Yeah, thank Al and Larry too for Titans at 10-5. Those guys aren't making any money doing that. They're doing that out of their pocket. You know, they break even at the end of the year. They're happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. That's got the comments pretty wrapped up.
All right. Well, perfect. Right at the 2-hour mark. And yeah, I like that one. Let's go racing, boys. I'm
Go
ready.
racing. I don't know who that is yet. Oh, that's Todd Bennett. Todd Bennett says, let's go racing, boys.
We talk every day.
We're ready. We're ready for the race.
I got to do some more welding and building before I go racing. I'm not ready. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So just to wrap things up here, we appreciate everybody coming on at the 2-hour mark. We really appreciate the both of you coming in. It was great last week when you were chiming in, and all the stories this week leading up to it, the little memes and stuff, just building us up. I think it really, we did a good job here tonight. I'm going to watch the same fight 10 times this week. Just laugh. But everybody that's watching, just want to just remind you to go to our check out our sponsors here. Go ahead and roll that, Gary. These are the people that are helping us. And if it wasn't for this group right here, then we couldn't do this podcast. Like Craven said, we're just trying to break even on this deal. So we appreciate Ultracolor. We appreciate
Ultracolor.
JR Sandlin, Iron and Metal. We know Brandon's grinding right now, getting that stewed back together. Mid-America Dragway, the Mary Bowers helping us. He told me the other day he's been helping drag racers since 1983 there. That's awesome. And Harry Street Carpet. So appreciate their support. Got us locked in for 2024 so we can keep these going. All right. Do go to our page, Heads Up Racing, Gary and Hot Rod Podcast. Give us a like, share. There it is, right there. You got the ball.
Big dog.
he says you've had enough of my attention. I got three dogs wanting some attention.
Yeah. But before the show, everybody, we were talking about how puppies and dogs like run our houses and their family and all that sort of stuff. So that's good stuff, man. Craven, yeah, dog just like us. That's awesome. All right. Well, any final thoughts or anything? Go around the table, Russell.
No, I just can't wait for race season. We've been out here cleaning on the car, getting ready to put the motor training back in, and we're just, we're bored. We're ready to go racing.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Craven, last thoughts?
Appreciate the opportunity to be on here and talk to you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. Look forward to seeing everybody at the track this year.
It's going to be a great
hopefully,
year. Yeah.
Hopefully we see you guys in Texas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Send us home, Gary. Any final thoughts?
Nope. I just want to, just in case Troy Aves is watching.
Okay.
Troy, this is my bottle I prefer. Just okay.
That's from
I just want him to see it.
Yeah,
so,
you are reminding him. A C note and some crown. Is that what we're doing?
I thought of something else that's I could get him out of it. Like, I think if he just gives me like $200,
okay,
I'll just let him be the first one. And then he can have that bragging rights that he whipped that big block Chevy and he get all the fame and all the girls, so
you're gonna let him buy out for $200. Is that what you're saying?
I'd let him buy out, yeah. And make him feel good,
All right, sounds good. Oh yeah, I think
and I'll still get a bottle of Crown out of it.
Yeah. I think he threw something at you there.
Let me catch this. It says I'm gonna. gonna walk by it to get the tequila.
Good stuff. Good stuff. First
Well,
to the 450.
yeah,
All right. Well,
good stuff.
that's all I have for tonight as well, Gary. I appreciate you doing this, and we're having a good time. And I think we're going to take next weekend off, and just kind of watch a little football and work on our hot rods, and then we'll come back after that. So look for Gary's invite.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Craven, thank you so much.
Yep.
And,
Thank you.
This was your idea. You threw this out, so we jumped on it right away for get you and Russell here to do this. This was fun. And Russell, thank you for playing along and having fun with us.
Yes.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
See you guys at the races.
Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Cool. Great job tonight, Gary.
Man, that was fun. That was really cool.
That was great, man. A couple of hard hitters right there.
Fast. Woo-wee.
Fast guys. One of those guys, I mean, they got a shot at that 3-second belt. That's going to be awesome. And, both of them totally different combinations too, right? You got the big block dump truck motors, he calls it, with the twins. And then, the NITROUS representing over there. And then, he's, of course, talking about Devin, that's Pro Charger. So, I mean, that's going to work out. So, cool.
Yeah, there's a variety of everything for everybody to root for. Whatever your flavor is,
right?
It's blower, turbo, nitrous, whatever.
Yeah.
This is Troy.
Uh-oh.
He says, hate to make that big block pee itself, seeing the little Hemi.
Oh, calling you down. There you go. All right.
This is Devin Brown, Missouri boys coming to play.
Yeah, they are. Man, that's a lock. And to be honest with you, Gary, we need to hit that street machines. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Before the season, I mean, we haven't been there once.
Isn't that like in
September? Yeah. And, just like Cameron was saying, that's what he was talking about. We need to all get over there. Talking to Brendan, he said it's really a lot of fun.
Yep.
Good time. Check that out. Cool.
That'd be cool.
Cool.
Somebody's okay. Debbie Foreman, she says it's September. All right.
Yeah.
I got my car running by then. Jeez.
Oh, no.
Woo. Golly. Things takes so long to do this stuff.
Yeah. You take there it is, 13th and 14th. That'll work.
Julia Brown. Thank you, Julia Brown. September 13th and 14th.
Yeah, we need to look into that.
I can throw that on the calendar.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yep, it'll be fun.
You take a week off work and burn it out. You know what I mean?
It'll take more than a week off of work.
Well, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Get it,
I know what you're saying.
It's hard to
I've
get.
I've got another Wolf tab open and a Summit tab open here.
Sunday night.
Man.
Cool.
Wolf Summit. Yep. What is this? I'm not sure who this is. Put this comment up. Oh, it's Troy. That's probably a video of him putting me on the trailer.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's right. It's going to be fun with Troy this year.
Yeah.
And everybody else.
All right. You ready to call it
Cool.
evening? Going good?
I'm ready. Yes, sir.
Ready to 5 it up?
5 it up. Are you good? Are you on the right side?
I am. I'm looking at my phone right now. Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Good.
There we go. We got it.
All right.
Lock.
Yes, sir. Thanks for your time and fun tonight, Rod.
Yeah, did a great job. Love bringing on those hitters. I mean, it's awesome talking those great stories. Golly, I learned a lot about both of those guys and
Yep.
their
Yeah,
perspective.
we need that. Hopefully, we can talk to some more of those Missouri guys and from the southeast area. From here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you later.
Later, everybody. We'll hit you up with I don't know what you would call it, a event.
Yep.
And we'll get
Invite.
the logistics worked out of our next piece, and we'll let you know.
All right.
All right. See you, Rod. Good night.